There's a key difference between training with purpose versus training with emotion. This is because when it comes to getting stronger long term, many people struggle with understanding when they need to push hard, but also when they need to pull back. Generally speaking, there is a framework that you want to keep in mind when you're new to a specific program, as well as what you're trying to do long term with your programming at hand. When you're new to a program, you generally want to ensure that you're putting yourself in a position to where you start off easy. This is because compound movements are very demanding on the body. If you come out the gate and you're on the gas, 10 out of 10 effort, you're not going to give yourself enough bandwidth to be able to move the needle in the right direction. You want to start off your programming to where you're approaching your key compound lifts with anywhere from a 6 to at most a 7 out of 10 intensity. This is going to put you in a practical position to where now each week that you approach whatever exercises it is that you're doing, you have more than enough bandwidth to continue to increase the weight, potentially increase the reps, and the overall demand on your body for what your goal is by the end of that program block. As you get towards the middle of the program, let's say you're about 3 to 4 weeks in, this is where now you can really start to ramp up the intensity. Rather than keeping things at a 6 to 7 out of 10, you can then choose to ramp things up to a 8.5, potentially a 9 out of 10. And then towards the latter end of your programming, depending on if you're gonna try to transition into another training block, or if you're trying to get ready for a specific competition, you could decide to where you want to push things to failure, or whether you want to leave at least 1 rep in the tank. This is where now you're thinking long term. What is your end goal gonna be for the thing it is that you're focused in on, and how it is that you want to approach that specific key item. An example, let's say my goal right now is to get ready for a powerlifting meet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna approach my key list, that being the squat, bench, and deadlift. I'm gonna open up conservatively. I'm gonna build that up over about a 4 to maybe 8 week block, depending on how strong I am. By the end of my program, I should be at a place to where whatever rep range I'm choosing, let's say I'm giving myself 3 training blocks. Let's say I start off with sets of 5. By the end of my first block, I should be pretty close to failure for my squat, bench, and deadlift. Now, when I go into the next block, I'll reset my intensity, I'll recalibrate things accordingly, and then maybe I do sets of 3. And I rinse and repeat that cycle up to where now the third block that I do is going to be more of a peaking block, to where I'm doing either doubles or singles depending on how my body feels by that point in time. So you can kind of see the general framework is you start up here with the reps, you progressively trend down program to program, but in between each program that you do, you approach the intensity accordingly to where you start off easy and then you progress that over time. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to long-term programming in terms of when to push hard versus when to pull back is understanding the efficiency at which you're approaching your key lifts. The efficiency at which you approach your key lifts is crucial, because efficiency is ultimately going to be what dictates how well you are at a specific movement. If you take something as technical as a muscle up, for instance, a muscle up is something I almost never do to failure. This is because there is a lot of minor details that I need to focus in on, such as the timing at which I pull, the speed at which I'm pulling from, the lower body engagement relative to the upper body, how I time my hip flexors as I transition up and over the bar. And the list can go on and on. Because this movement is very technically demanding, this is a movement to where efficiency is number 1 and failure is very bottom of the barrel. Whereas let's take a smaller movement, something like a bicep curl or something like a forearm wrist curl. Movements such as these are using smaller muscle groups. As a result, because they're using smaller muscle groups, you'll have more bandwidth of energy to be able to push those to failure a lot safer, more frequently, because they don't hit your body as hard as your key compound lifts do. And they're not as technical as other compound lifts may be that require a little bit more finesse when doing so. Keeping this in mind now will put you in a position to where when you set up your routine, you could have most of your key compound lifts to where you progress them, as I mentioned before, to where you start off easy, and then over a long-term program, you could then push to failure or close to failure at the end of the block. Whereas with the smaller movements, you could give yourself a little bit more wiggle room to where if you want to push them to failure more frequently, you can. Or if you're, let's say, rehabbing a specific injury that you may have or a specific overuse issue that you may have, you could approach them accordingly. If I were to be using my forearms and my biceps as an example, if I'm dealing with elbow issues, maybe I follow the same approach I would any other exercise, to where I start off easy, I work through the movement, I have a higher rep range to work within, and I progress that over time. And eventually I'm putting myself in a position to where now I have more bandwidth for that specific area that I'm dealing issues with. And as far as how you're looking to put this all together systemically, you're now gonna be in a much more advantageous position to where, one, you're able to optimize your energy output for your key lifts. Two, you have a better fundamental understanding of how to progress this over time. And three, now you can troubleshoot any sort of issues that you may have with potential overuse issues in areas that may arise because of the programming that you're following. All this said, remember, there is a key distinction with when you should push hard versus when to pull back. When you keep this in mind, you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to where you can build long term. This is number one when it comes to strength. If your goal was something like hypertrophy, yes, you can get away with pushing your compound lifts to failure more frequently. However, with strength, you need to be a little bit more systematic with your approach so you can optimize your long-term strength results. If you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a like down below, comment in terms of what you would want to see next, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you're new so you can see more videos like this. And with that being said, also comment down below, what sort of struggles are you facing when it comes to knowing when to push for your strength training versus when to pull things back.